A single game of college basketball is about to swing a life-changing amount of money directly into players' pockets, and that has the sport more divided than ever. But here's where it gets even more controversial: the payout is entirely tied to name, image and likeness, NIL deals, not traditional salaries, and some people think it looks a lot like pay-for-play. The Players Era Festival CEO, Seth Berger, has confirmed that the champion of Wednesday's title matchup between Michigan State and Gonzaga in Las Vegas will unlock an extra $1 million in NIL compensation for its players, on top of what they are already earning through the event's deals. The team that comes up short will not walk away empty-handed, either. It is set to receive $500,000 in NIL money, making this showdown the first game in college basketball history with a total of $1.5 million directly tied to the result. That kind of winner-take-more structure feels very much like a high-stakes professional playoff bonus, and that's exactly why so many fans and traditionalists are watching it closely. Payouts for every placement. The big money dynamic is not limited to the championship game. The third-place contest between Tennessee and Kansas also carries substantial NIL rewards, with the winner due to collect $300,000 and the losing team still taking home $200,000 in compensation linked to NIL activities. In practical terms, that means even teams that are technically out of the running for the title still play in games with six-figure consequences for their rosters, which can change how coaches manage minutes and how players approach intensity late in a tournament. And this is the part most people miss: these amounts sit on top of other NIL earnings, turning a short November event into a financial windfall compared with what college athletes could have imagined just a few years ago. How the NIL money actually works. Berger has emphasized that all 18 teams participating in this year's Players Era Festival are projected to average more than $1 million each in NIL compensation over the course of the event. That figure is not simply a lump sum appearance fee. Players are expected to complete real marketing work to earn it, including promotional activations, advertising services, and social media content obligations throughout the week. From his perspective, this structure is meant to align with fair market value, where each athlete's compensation is tied to measurable promotional activities and deliverables rather than to on-court performance alone. Not pay-for-play, or is it? Berger has been very deliberate about saying this is not a pay-for-play tournament, even though the amounts at stake rise and fall depending on wins and losses. His argument is that the underlying NIL deals are tied to brand and marketing work, and that the performance on the floor simply determines which package of opportunities and payouts each team receives. Critics, however, look at $1 million bonus for winning a single game and see something that feels almost indistinguishable from performance-based salary or prize money in a professional league. Do you think that distinction between NIL marketing income and game result bonuses really holds up in practice, or is it just clever framing? Expansion plans and big-time backing. The Players Era Festival is not staying small. In 2026, the event is set to grow from its current 18-team field to a much larger 32-team bracket, signaling that its organizers view this as a long-term fixture in the college basketball calendar rather than a short-lived experiment. Fueling that growth is a new $50 million equity partnership with the Big 12 Conference, which has committed to sending 8 teams to the expanded event. That level of institutional support suggests that major conferences see NIL-heavy showcases like this as part of the future, even if not all coaches and fans are comfortable with how rapidly the financial side is escalating. Profit now, investment later. According to Berger, the Players Era Festival has already reached profitability in just its second year of existence, which is unusually quick for an event that is still refining its format and identity. At the same time, the women's edition of the festival, featuring South Carolina, Texas, UCLA, and Duke in games scheduled for Wednesday and Thursday, is currently expected to lose money this year. Organizers frame that loss as an investment, saying they anticipate significant growth on the women's side over time as interest and NIL infrastructure continue to develop. This raises a pointed question: should events be willing to subsidize women's sports for a period in order to accelerate long-term parity, or should every division be expected to stand on its own financially from day one? A confusing format by design. One of the most debated aspects of the Players Era Festival is its structure. Rather than a simple bracket where winners and losers flow neatly to fixed positions, the event uses a more complex formula that incorporates margin of victory, overall record, total points scored, and head-to-head results to determine which teams reach the championship matchup. Berger compares this approach to the way many AAU tournaments operate on the youth circuit, where pool play, point differential, and tiebreakers often shape final placements. To fans used to the traditional NCAA tournament bracket, however, it can feel unnecessarily complicated and even a bit arbitrary. Why the format won't change. Even as the field expands to 32 teams, Berger has indicated there are no plans to overhaul this unconventional format. The long-term vision is that, as people see the system in action over multiple years, it will start to feel more intuitive and easier to follow. From his point of view, this approach creates a scenario where every possession matters because point differential and total scoring can influence where a team ends up even after a single loss. That pressure can make what might otherwise be routine early season games feel tense and meaningful, potentially drawing in casual viewers who might not normally tune in for November college basketball. Every second has a price tag. The message from the event organizers is clear: every shot, every basket, and every minute on the floor carries real-world financial implications for players under this NIL model. A late three-pointer or a defensive stop no longer affects only rankings and resumes, it can literally shift hundreds of thousands of dollars in exposure and earnings. For supporters, this is long overdue recognition of the value college athletes have always created for their schools and media partners. For skeptics, it feels like one more step toward full professionalization, just without the straightforward contracts and labor protections that come with a true pro league. Your turn: is this the future or a problem? So here's the big question: does tying million-dollar NIL payouts to tournament results represent a healthy evolution that finally shares revenue with athletes, or does it cross a line and turn college basketball into a de facto professional circuit without calling it that? Is the Players' Era Festival a bold, necessary innovation or a dangerous precedent that will only deepen the gap between haves and have-nots in the sport? Share your thoughts. Do you love this direction, hate it, or think the truth lies somewhere in between?